Time for parenting. And today we are joined by Ambassador Babatunde Kayode, an educator, teens transformational coach, and mental health advocate. He will be discussing the evolving parenting in the 21st century. And it's such a pleasure to have you in the studio with us
Thank you.
today.
The pleasure is mine.
So when I saw evolving parenting in the 21st century, I thought, wow, okay, this is a mouthful. But what is that about? When we talk about evolving parenting, what's that about?
Okay, when we talk about evolving parenting, first we need to understand that we are at a different times compared to before, a time that is being run by technology. Even recently we have the advancement in AI. So when we talk about evolving parenting, we're saying parenting should move with the flow, especially with technology. Because the kind of children we have now, we call them digital natives. They are the kind of children that have soaked themselves up in technology, and they feel that the time of their parents is past and they're old school and that they know a lot more than their parents right now. But it's not as if, they know a lot more than their parents, and they also don't know a lot that their parent knows. So what parent will need to do is to now evolve. I've spoken with parents and they want to get these gadgets away from their children. They want to prevent them from using it. But when you do that, you kill them. You do not allow them to be able to evolve also. So evolving parenting is moving on with the flow, but helping your children and the times, and helping your children by guiding them through how to really move as far as this time is concerned.
So how can a parent evolve with a child?
Okay, every parent needs to understand that there is a different time. We live in a different time zone now, different from their own. And technology has come to stay. It has its own benefit. It has its own bad side also. So what we need to do as parents is to first understand the times. Understand that when your child behaves in certain ways, it is because of the time, because of the knowledge and exposure that they have. So when you understand that, you learn to treat them better. Number two, you need to understand your child. Your child lives in a different world. Apart from understanding this, your child lives in a different world. And that way you better understand how to deal with that child. And one thing I like to tell parents is that there are certain provisions that every parent must provide. It's not just about material provision. Gone are the days where all you need to do is provide food on the table, clothes on the child, pay school fees, and take care of the child. There are other provisions now that are very important.
So what are those provisions?
Social provision.
When you say social, what do you mean?
Yeah, when I say social provision, how do you help your child to interact with people? In a world where everything is about technology, where you don't even need to be in the face of people to interact with them. Now, when your child is always sucked up in technology, maybe just alone, isolated, when your child comes in public, how do your child relate with other people? This is the responsibility of the parent, not even the school. But parents just leave that to the school. If your child is always so engulfed with technology and you don't know what your child is doing, it can kill that child's social intelligence. And another one is emotional intelligence. If you go online, if you're too engulfed with technology, your emotion can be damaged because of the so many information that you get. The internet is like a vast nothingness where you can be lost. But if parents can really understand this, then they get to understand why their child or their children behave in certain ways. But so if you can rightly provide that emotional provision, help your child balance the social,
so we've
emotional
gone from social
well-being.
to emotional.
Yes,
now,
from social now to emotional. Then you can better, build that relationship with your child. You even understand why your child acts in certain ways. Many of the ways they behave this way now is because of the information they get online.
Yes,
okay, you need to do this, you need to do that. So if you don't understand, you just feel your child is acting up. And then you begin to treat the issue the wrong way. But when you yourself, you get involved, then you know your child's emotional build-up and where you need to come in. So it's an era of understanding, not even an era of being authoritarian now. So apart from that emotional build-up, there's a place of spiritual build-up also.
Okay.
The times are hard.
Social,
times are evil.
emotional,
Social, emotional,
spiritual.
even the intellectual build-up. Of course, we know we have to provide the material needs, but you do not just leave that to the society or to the school to do that. When you talk about financial intelligence, I don't believe it should start in school. It should start at home. So how do you also provide intellectual development or provision for your children? When you understand all this, you would better parent your child and not just leave your child at the mercy
Can we
of...
take a step back to the spiritual provision? Because I
Okay.
know we kind of like glazed over that. What is that about?
All right, when we talk about spiritual provision, now, not a lot of children right now, because I coach teenagers also. Not a lot of teenagers know how to pray. Not all teenagers know spiritual stuff. So every parent needs to come in and lead the way when it comes to spiritual. Of course, we cannot live our lives outside the spiritual with all the things going on right now. You know, spirituality also helps to build your mind, help you to maintain a balanced mental health. So they need to come in. They don't just rush out and rush in. You need to guide them through the spiritual path also.
So I feel like in most cases when we talk about parenting, there's always that focus on the parents. What is the responsibility of the child as the parents are also trying to, you know, get into what their needs are?
So most times when we emphasize more on the parent, it's because the parent needs to lead the way. These children are naive, they don't know a lot. But then the children also have responsibilities. And I keep telling my teenagers, number one, you need to respect your parents. And then you also need to understand that your times are different.
Absolutely.
So if your parents are behaving in certain ways, understand that it's a build-up from the information and environment you're exposed to. So when you understand that, it helps to create that relationship. And number two is to give that listening here. When they give you their demands, when they come with the proposals
So your
to you,
parents bring
yes,
proposals?
Yes.
Okay.
When they bring in their demands, when they bring in a proposal, yes, you know, you can give proposals to your children. Like, I want us to do this. Because I said we're in the times where we get to understand.
Yeah.
Want us to do, they want us to do this. You must listen to them. And out of respect, you get to see from their perspective. So it's very important.
Okay. So we're talking about from the child respect.
Yes.
And what's the other one again?
You must listen to them.
And then give a listening ear. That's
Yes.
the children must listen to their
And then
parents
you
as
must
well.
get to trust them also.
Okay.
Because you need to understand that you know a lot, yes, because of technology, but at the same time, you still don't know a lot. So you must trust them sometimes when they come to you and tell you this is not the way things are. So you should understand that there are times are past, but not past. There are so many information, so many knowledge that they have that you cannot even buy. There's something called experiential knowledge. If you don't get to that point, you don't get to really understand how it works.
So even with the changing times and with all that is happening, there's always that experiential knowledge, the one that only your parents have because of the years they've been on earth. So always take note of that. So we talk parenting, we also talked about even the children aspect of it. Thank you so much for your time,
Thank you very much.
Ambassador Babatunde. It's been a very interesting conversation.
Thank you very much.